A better environment starts with yourself. That was the slogan of the public information campaign that the Dutch government started in the 90s. The goal of the campaign was to give people a perspective and to inspire them to make more conscious choices in their daily life. This campaign was also rooted within me, and so I tried to improve my environment-friendly lifestyle. I minimized my purchases, started to buy only organic products, and as local and seasonal as possible. I also tried to minimize my waste by making my own soap, laundry detergent, and other products. I tried as many sustainable trends as possible, and it made me feel responsible towards our ecological crisis. However, as I started to continue my research, my perspective changed. Once again, it came to my realization how our current behavior and systems are structurally damaging nature and all living beings, and that an individual behavioral change is not nearly enough. Not nearly enough, because there are way too many problems within our systems. This realization and new perspective motivated me to take a different approach. My name is Emma, I'm a social innovation student, and this is the journey of my personal expedition. The failures of our current systems.
I started my research focused on sustainable habits to see what we as human beings can do in order to solve our ecological crisis. For example, how organic food and local food can help, or a minimalistic lifestyle, and all those small and also major habits that influence the ecological crisis. The turning point in my research was the moment that I started to read Less is More from Jason Hickel. He describes that our capitalistic system and society destroyed our animistic perspective, because an animistic perspective means that everything is interconnected and considered to be alive. But the problem was that while we had this animistic perspective, our economy was also growing. This was in the 16th century. But in order to keep our economy growing, we needed to step back from that animistic perspective. Because as long as everything was considered to be alive, we couldn't use it. We couldn't use nature, animals, plants in the way that we needed to use them in order to keep our economy growing. Because the problem with our economic system is that we take more than we give back. The unfortunate thing was that it also meant that nature became an object. Land became property, living beings became things, and ecosystems became resources. Well, we still approach all our land, nature, living beings, ecosystems in the same way. And everything nowadays is focused on economic growth. And the idea behind it is that it would actually improve our human well-being. But this is not the case, because it's also causing our climate change, and it's also causing inequality. It is actually causing damage, not only towards nature, but also to humans. But this is a very complicated situation, because our economic system is organized in a certain way that without growth, our whole society would collapse. But there are actually alternatives. We could create an economy that is focused on the needs of humans and nature instead of the other way around. But in order to do that, we need way more than only a change within habits. And we can be as sustainable as we want, but it wouldn't solve the problem. We need to change something on a political level. We need to change our political system, and they actually need to do something about it. Well, it's quite frustrating because everybody, or not everybody, but there are a lot of people already focused and working on solutions. But some of those solutions are actually making things worse. For example, there's an initiative to plant a lot of trees in Brazil. But this is actually making things worse for them because it wasn't figured out properly, and it was all very focused on the Western perspective and on Western needs, actually. And I think that we should be focused on creating equality throughout the entire world. We should focus on distributing income equally. And we should invest way more in public services, but not only here in the north, but also in the south, because everybody deserves to go to school and to get health care, because without that, people don't get the opportunity to enjoy the art of living. The political system is very important because changing our habits and becoming very sustainable is not enough to solve this crisis. We need them because they have the power to change things on a higher level. Because there are 100 companies in this world that are responsible for 70% of the emission in the entire world. And in order to save the planet, but also save human beings, it is essential for them to change their way of working. And we as a consumer, of course, we can't stop to support them. But it's very difficult to not be hypocrite in this situation because we are part of this system and yeah, we need to live in it eventually. So it is important that we demand change on a political level in order to stop them. There's always been a discussion, is it the responsibility of a consumer to demand that companies change, or is it the responsibility for a company to change? So for example, with fuel, is it the responsibility of Shell to stop providing it, or is it the responsibility of consumers to stop using it? And while this discussion is going on, are companies earning millions and billions of euros and dollars by damaging our world and people, their lives. And they're not interested to change, otherwise it would have happened a long time ago. And the problem is that our political systems allows them to behave in this way. That should change. I think we need to change that rather sooner than later because it's causing a lot of inequality in this world. Our political system should be focused on investing money and time in public services, or spending a lot of time to make sure that our income and the money that exists in this world is equally distributed. Because at the moment, our political system is investing a lot of money in airlines instead of public transport or trains or whatever. And I think it's unfair that consumers and people feel ashamed to take the plane to visit a family member, for example, while our political system is investing so much money in it. And for example, if that family member would live in Spain and we as Europe and we as a society would invest a lot of money in trains, we would have a sustainable alternative. We can do a lot more than change our habit or live the perfect sustainable lifestyle. We can change things on a political level.
These times exposed all different vulnerabilities of our globalized capitalistic system. This in combination with the personal expedition inspired me to imagine what a different world would look like and what my role would be within this. I found out that we can do so much more than implement sustainable habits and support the right and responsible companies and banks. I discovered that there's an opening in which we can create a more sustainable economy and a more socially focused society. There's an opening in which we can create a change with determination and joint effort.